grade, 76 students. And the information I have, these very students who are not taken have petitioned the board because they have no other alternative. Actually, about 4,000 of them have appealed. And the matter of national matter I'm raising, Mr. Speaker, is that what can we do as Parliament for all these students who have been admitted in the universities but they have no money to study? And indeed, the money they take from the loan scheme, they pay it back after they have qualified, meaning that they are stranded, and the board does not, actually it starts paying after students are admitted and they are studying. So these ones who are already in the universities are not going to study because the board could not afford getting money for this big number. And they have been there. That's the matter I'm raising, and I pray that we as Parliament, what can we do for these people, these young men who have no fees and they are needed? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So you are praying to Parliament?
Of course, my prayer goes to us and government.
No, because you can't pray to Parliament. Parliament never proposed a budget.
Yeah.
Parliament cannot raise a supplementary if that's what you're asking for. It's another branch of government that does that.
I think I'm praying to finance, and is here in front of us. And of course, right now, Speaker, money taken by these students is paid back. It's a loan, and the government cannot fail to get money for people who want to borrow and study. Yet we passed the act here as Parliament.
It's okay, it's okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister, 5,000 students are stranded. They don't have money to pay fees, and yet we have a student loan scheme supported by the government. They could not be accommodated by the funds available. That's the matter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Honorable, for raising this issue. Mr. Speaker, as you recall, this matter came a few months ago. The Minister for Education made a statement about the loan scheme. Now, was not abreast with this information. I'm going to get in touch with the Minister for Education, and then we'll come to the House and see how we can address this matter. Yeah.
On this issue? Yes.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. As the Minister comes, I want to propose, because the statistics itself of the students that were admitted in the entire North, only 12% of students were admitted, and it came to our attention that the ministry later issued a guideline that was outside the advertisement that students who are above 28 years should not qualify. And given the peculiar situation of northern Uganda, where there were interruptions and most of the students went to school late, I think I would pray that the ministry brings to this House and lays to us the additional criteria that was considered, and I propose that government should get an affirmative action on the scheme itself to ensure that students from the North can actually access, because 25% of the students are admitted were from Central, 25% from Eastern, 38% from Western Uganda, and only 12% from the entire Northern Uganda. So this information would help us, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. On this issue, you're informing somebody has to be holding the floor. Somebody has to be holding the floor if you're giving information. Okay. No, it's very urgent, but nobody's holding the floor. You can't give information. That's the rules. Somebody has to be holding the floor for you to give information. Procedure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The procedural matter I'm raising is that this matter was raised here on this floor a few weeks ago by a member, the issue of the loan scheme. And because it's so paramount to all of us, this House was requested that a supplementary be made to that effect. It's quite important, Mr. Speaker. If you look at those who applied for loan scheme, they are students from needy families. And most importantly, they have all passed and been admitted to government universities and even private universities. So the supplementary, the procedural matter I'm raising, wouldn't it be better if this matter is put, if a supplementary matter is made so that we can have this matter resolved. Because these are our people and they need to be helped so they can pursue their higher education. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I was here when the member for, I don't remember now, raised the matter, but the specific matter that the member raised was in relation to notices and deadlines. And so there was no way that the matter of supplementary could have been raised that day. Today there's a specific issue that there are 5,000 students who qualify to get this loan, but there's no money to be given to them. That is the specific issue that had been raised today. So there you have 5,000 students. 5,000 is a big number. It's a big number. And that's why we're asking the Honorable Minister, and Parliament, of course, cannot raise a supplementary. It's this gentleman here who has those prerogatives, Honorable Bahati. Please, could you guide the House on how we handle this matter?
You borrow, Minister in charge of borrowing.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. We need to invest a lot on our people, not on the buildings. We need the buildings, we need the road, but we need investment on our population more than any other thing. That then requires that big population will be a time bomb for us. So it is important that the Honorable Minister, if the Honorable Prime Minister was here, to assure us and accept this one needs even immediate borrowing, because this is almost like is responding to a calamity. It is a calamity. We can't wait. Over 5,000 students to be just left out there is a big problem. So, Honorable Minister, you are here for the Prime Minister. Assure us, because sometimes we borrow even for not important issues. Let us borrow or let us have a supplementary for this. It is the responsibility of Cabinet to bring us a supplementary. And we will not hesitate to pass it. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, please conclude this matter.
Mr. Speaker, as I said, I've just received this information about the numbers of students who qualify, but they have not been assisted by the student loan. And as I said, we are going to get in touch with the Ministry of Education and then see how to help. And first of all, I even ascertain whether the numbers you are talking about are the real numbers, whatever numbers,
please.
Whatever numbers we are going to sit as government. So the assurance is that this situation is going to be handled and Parliament will be updated accordingly. It might not be handled in a day or two, but we are going to attend to the matter and give it the importance it deserves.
Thank you. Can we go to the order paper?
Item 3 on the order paper, response by the Leader of the Opposition on the State of the Nation Address 2019.
Madam Leader of the Opposition, I see you have a 30-page document. I hope you have a summary of it. Because if you are to finish the 30 pages, we'll not do any other business.
Right Honorable Speaker, when we are responding...
The President was doing that, there was no other business of Parliament. But now, we have other business of Parliament.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Proceed, Madam, proceed.
Thank you. Give me your ears. Yes, Right Honorable Speaker and members, fellow Ugandans, it is an honor for me to address this august House on the State of Nation as viewed by Speaker, Honorable Kadaga, who touched him with his healing hand and enable us to be with Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON, Cairo 2019, made Uganda proud. We also congratulate She Cranes for raising the Uganda flag even higher when they finished 7th at the Netball World Cup in the United Kingdom. We draw lessons from the event and our team's performance in respect of what investments are needed to further strengthen them. The continued marginalized gender equality. When the She Cranes returned home from their amazing exploits, the President did not treat them the same way he treated the Cranes. Our government will completely do away with such inequality and equitable treatment. 3, remind us of the sad passing of our colleagues and other national leaders who have departed from us since last year. This includes the Right Honorable Apollon Svambi, former Prime Minister, Honorable Ibrahim Abirga, former Arua Municipality, Right Reverend Bishop Cyprian Bamoze, the former Bishop of Busoga Diocese, Right Reverend Bishop Augustine Arapiano, the former Bishop of Sebe, Ambassador Julius Onen, a former prominent Mohamed Kirumira, a former police commander with an avid sense of justice who was brutally shot dead, victims of Bududa mudslides, other victims of gruesome murders, notably women in Wakiso district, victims a week before the budget for the following financial year is presented to this august House, is meant to give the government of the day, in particular to the President, an opportunity, what opportunities exist for us and what is to be done in the year to follow. The big promises the government made for the year need to be evaluated and bear before Ugandans. Unfortunately, Right Honorable Speaker, the President chose to do the opposite in what is called his State of the Nation address comments against those opposed to his rule. Opportunity to propose to Ugandans an alternative vision, a better future for us and those to come after us. We chose the latter option for wants to the state of relative economic powers. As those who captured power use every trick in the book, a trace of exceptional hard work or enterprise, while the NRM government has not done much to ensure that hard-working Ugandan farmers, fishermen, civil servants, and the citizens of Uganda, that while our economy has registered impressive figures of growth, often posting of above 60% GDP growth rate per year, this economy has not worked for everyone. There are glaring disparities at individual, community, and regional levels As a result of the failed policies that the government has insisted on pursuing, the number of Ugandans living below the poverty line had fallen to 19.7% in the financial year 2012-2013, but the same increased to 21.4% in the financial year 2016-2017. Eastern and northern regions have the citing developments in infrastructure, most especially roads, does not show the whole picture. Some of these roads hardly carry trucks transporting locally produced goods. Right Honorable Speaker, one of the reasons for this is that our economy is dominated by foreigners who benefit from excessive incentives to the chagrin of the citizens. Technology and these disadvantages the country in many ways, including improvement of skills and innovation, increased earnings for the locals, consumption of local materials, and building for the future. Right Honorable Speaker, we are aware that the heart of this is the lack of investable funds as a result of a mortgaged country. We have in the past advised and still consider that citizens in an inclusive manner, but this cannot be realized with the current rhetoric to fool the citizens. Have the President's directives on BUBU over the years been fully implemented? Right Honorable Speaker, we need to ensure on the growth and development of citizens of this country. Investment in urbanization will ensure that our towns and cities do not simply develop into expansive slums, rather grow into modern metropolis. Right Honorable Speaker, our national budget must refocus and center on the people. The development plan should deliberately aim at job creation, skills development, and transformation against which the much talked about letters can be achieved. Land and agriculture. Right Honorable Speaker, the second issue acting Ugandans is land. The land wealth refers to all commonly shared resources from land. That is agriculture. Agriculture remains Uganda's most important sector, employing over 33.7 bananas, maize, tobacco, rice, sugar cane, cotton, and horticultural products. There are also animal products such as milk and beef. Uganda also produces fish as continue to dwindle, currently contributing a mere 24% to the economy. Right Honorable Speaker, for many years, the budgetary allocation for agriculture done through the crude traditional hand-held hoe, and often there is poor yield because of over-reliance on natural weather as opposed to modern methods of farming. The increasing Ugandan raw materials, which face very little on the world market compared to the finished goods, because of the little proceeds fetched from the agriculture, make chapati or work as constructors' sites for pittance. Right Honorable Speaker, land acquisition and ownership continues to face unprecedented agencies for its registration and establishment connive with the beneficiaries of ill-gotten wealth and greedy to rob communities of land, causing untold suffering to citizens, instability, insecurity, and disruption to production. Land acquisition, registration, and ownership by citizens. The government has abandoned its hanging loop on citizens' land belongs to the people. Budgetary allocation to the agricultural sector needs to be raised to 10% over a period of 3 years so that investment in more training of sector support staff are undertaken with the view to modernize agriculture. 3, establishment of cooperative societies and unions should be fast-tracked to take on production skills, development, storage, and marketing are tailored to manage handouts and not creation of real wealth. This will not create a wealthy population. Cooperative societies and unions proved their performance in this country when they existed, and even have shown them as effective avenues for rural development. 4, the cooperative bank should be reinstated to improve the agricultural financing needs for farmers. The unconcluded inquiries need to be sorted so that, as opposed to the mockery of soldiers who are earning more or less free money as they mismanage the otherwise failed Operation Wealth Creation programs. 8, zoning the country should be actualized so that production focuses on where the zone enjoys proven advantage. This stimulates large commercial production. Water sector. Right Honorable Speaker, Uganda's Safreza. As a result, Uganda's fresh waters have been polluted due to destruction of catchment areas in many places. And when you walk around Kampala, Uganda has all these natural water bodies. The water has not been used for agricultural production. In the second National Development Plan, projected 3% and to 73% in rural areas. In 2015, to 100% in urban areas by the end of financial year 2015-2016. However, even with this percent in rural areas and decline to 71% in urban areas, but still has to be done to improve the situation in water sector. But the situation will get worse, not better, going by what NRM government is doing. I will show you why for the of the national budget, which has dropped from 5% financial year 2018-2019. Right? We propose the following to help better use of our water resources. Harvest rainwater for both domestic and agricultural use. Swamps that have been destroyed should be restored to protect our water sources. More ferries and ships should be constructed to improve water transport. One quick way is investors offer incentives for them to set up boat building factories, primarily using fiber. This will make our waters safe and also save our forests. Improvement of fishing in the national waters and conservation of fishing areas of the water bodies against the soldiers that seek to replace them with foreigners. Social service sector. Right Honorable Speaker, we have taken a negative turn. The introduction of UPE and USE, a global initiative of the World Bank, and its implementation in our country, boosted the setting up of private schools, get better facilities compared to majority from poor families that cannot afford private schools. Honorable members, as you may be aware, education in Uganda is a tool for end up with sponsorship in Uganda government universities or get scholarships to study abroad. On the other hand, Children from the poor homes study in UPE, USE, and often have to pay for college education if they are lucky to slip through the sieving net and get admitted. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, UPE and USE are characterized by congestion in classes, inadequate education materials, poor hygiene on empty stomachs. Universities are equally struggling with congestion in lecture rooms and poor pay for lecturers. Consequently, there is low literacy and in education institutions. We propose the following towards resuscitating the country and provide a reservoir for national thinking young people, a hope for the nation. 2, increase the teachers' pay without any further delay. In 2016, the opposition had proposed for primary school teacher B, Uganda shilling 650,000, and for senior, 1 million for secondary school teachers. Strengthen Parents Teachers Association to achieve greater quality control in schools. Build more classrooms, urban sector. Urgently avail sanitary pads to the girls, to the girl child, to reduce on the rates of school outs. 7, strengthen the school's inspectorate. At least have an inspector for every 50 schools. This inspector should be well facilitated to ensure that every school is regularly inspected anytime without notice. In college, the system of government sponsoring mostly children of the rich period to be known to students. Careers guidance should be re-emphasized and strengthened. Introduce government facilitated internship programs for all college students to be carried out in both public and private departments, enterprises. Sports. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, games and sports play a pivotal role first in the development of children, and later sports and other extracurricular activities are undermined, and schools no longer engage children in extracurricular activities, but rather concentrate on passing of exams. Government officials have encroached on all public playground spaces where recreation used to take place. Many stadia in different parts of the country have been left to waste or been turned into communities. 2, reclaim school land and all public land previously used for recreation. 3, equip schools and communities with games and sports fields and equipment. 4, set up regional sports academy, at least one sports academy in each of the regions. Encourage school and inter-community sports competition.
Madam Leader of the Opposition, you might bring some water while I recognize some children who have come. In the public gallery this afternoon, we have pupils and teachers of... In the public gallery also, we have pupils and teachers of Moyok Primary. Come with them. Very welcome. Yes, madam.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. We are now on health sector, social service. Abroad, while majority Ugandans are left to go to the ailing public health centers and hospitals without the required refrigeration are a ghastly sight. The sector has also been riddled to find better working conditions elsewhere. 1,000 children born, 1.83% of them do not have the pleasure. Nearby housing to medical workers, we propose a starting salary of 650 billion, 400 billion spent annually to treat our privileged persons in foreign countries. 2, decongest health centers by focusing on preventive health care, but also encouraging home-based care. All citizens, not only to the highly connected. Shame on Uganda. Open every State of Nations address. He assures the country how security has been restored in elections of Businga Kingdom, Rwenzururu, in Kasese was invaded by the National Security Forces on orders of General Museveni. Defense security took a colossal share of 3.6 trillion of the budget allocation. Right, Honorable Speaker, there are a number of reasons that explain breakdown of security in the country, and the earlier we address them, the better it will be for the country. The first and perhaps main one has been the dysfunction, amorphous, and proliferated security institutions with personal loyalties. These arose as a result of Mr. Museveni focusing on regime survival rather than effective national security. Members of the amorphous security are today part of the problem. At every general election, General Museveni recruits militia to terrorize the voters and assist him to rig. Many crimes are committed by these security institutions, either directly or indirectly. The second is the collapse of the economy and public service systems. The collapse of the rural economy has caused rural-urban migration, yet many youths who migrate to towns and find themselves well thought out systems. Furthermore, the many wars and insurgencies in the country for the last 30 years have caused breakdown of communities and families. There are now many children growing up of unemployed youth in urban centers and the army. The opposition still proposes the starting salary for the men and women in uniform at 650,000. Restore professionalism in the police and army. Now we go to constitutionalism, justice, law, and order. Right, Honorable Speaker, justice has become very expensive and prohibitive. Many times courts demand millions of shillings before someone is released on bail. This is worse for political candidates who seek justice in courts. Many candidates who unfairly lose elections and seek justice from courts are subjected to heavy fines that some of the candidates have had to flee the country while others have been jailed. Therefore, we need to carry out a constitutional review to make the Constitution a defender of the citizens, not just the... Number 2, source of displacement of many families, the handshake. This matter has never been concluded. Government is not open in awarding of mineral exploration licenses. Many parts of the country have secretly been parceled out, and many have not yet been compensated, even with that peanuts. The other debate around the oil industry is how the money from oil should be used. The welfare of vulnerable people like the old and the very poor. We therefore propose the following. 1, compensation system to the affected persons to the international accepted best practice, which now gold industry. Right, Honorable Speaker, gold is widely spread around the country. However, extraction has been handed largely to foreigners under dubious arrangements. The gold industry is also shrouded in illegal market. There is also lack of clarity on so that contractors do not cheat locals. 0.7% of Ugandans have access to electricity. This is comprised of 18% of the rural and 57% of the urban population. Ugandans also face high power rates due to services and makes running costs and tariffs high, covered in less than 20 years. Although yes, EAS, the originally contracted company, had already been advanced, the regime has been talking of borrowing money to compensate Aga Khan, so that government takes over ownership. In Syria, it is estimated that 8 million people will be living in urban centers and green spaces in urban centers. 8, encourage planting trees on all hilltops and land boundaries because of the trade imbalances. Uganda depends on export of trade, where our issue of reviving cooperatives as a national priority to increase production quality and quantity, stability of prices and value addition. 3, diverse influence. From pastors who fake miracles to teachers who defile their pupils, and to doctors who leave gorge while delivering mothers, to policemen who rob factories, they are deployed. The economy, social services, security also go wrong as running in circles. Political space is increasingly getting suffocated. Our country is clearly under a dictatorship. Yes, that's our view. Characterized by inflated voter registers, manipulated by electronic biometric machines in safe houses, away from the National Tally Center, removal of opponents' names from the register, ballot stuffing, to be misappropriated by and to benefit the family head, who is always a drunkard. Nor do the rights holders hold their leaders sufficiently accountable. No longer safely talk of supporters and followers, as what matters is the capacity to rend support for selfish gains. Ours is a history of violence. No known leader or president has democratically, peacefully handed over to a successor. They all come into power using force, guns, and wait for force and or guns to throw them out. Consequently, our country that is endowed in every way has remained relatively undeveloped, endowed but undeveloped. There is decline in almost all spheres that support decent living towards the middle income status that we are told we will achieve. The reality is that the middle class under this regime is largely created out of primitive accumulation that is stealing and plundering of a re-evaluation of our leadership, the one we have and the one we think we should have. Record being servants of the people. With the issue of the capture prioritize over building a merit-based is dialogue, history of political party dialogue in Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, reforms in the country before another election, all parties agreed that there was need to push for joint election reforms. In 2008, all parties came under the umbrella. Prime Minister, Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi, dismissed and referred to them as corridor whispers. not knowing that he would also. Where is he now? Yet his NRM party was highly represented in IPOD. Out of all the proposed reforms, the regime only changed the name of the Electoral Commission to Independent Electoral Commission and said it was too late to work on reforms. Right Honorable Speaker, from 2012 to 2015, a joint group of members of the Interreligious Council, the civil society and political parties, including some members of the NRM party, went around the country soliciting views on the necessary reforms that would deliver a free and fair elections and ensure, but all have collapsed due to the intransigency of the leadership of NRM. We think that dialogue is not only a cheap option, but it also gives opportunity to all citizens to bring their issues on table. But not all dialogue is productive. Ill-conceived and manipulated dialogue can only make us lose valuable, irrecoverable opportunity and time. We have made our contribution to the ongoing dialogue initiatives, flawed as they are, in creating entities, stroke persons. Number 3, an agreed and independent mediator. Need for a transition to redirect Uganda to democratic path. This is critical to address flaws and fraud in our leadership and to restore the constitutionalism and to rule of law. The transition should be run by the government of national unity, and the assignment for the government national unity shall be inter-allied to 1, put in place a national truth-telling and reconciliation mechanism. Undertake constitutional reforms. 3, reorganize and rebuild broad. 4, organize free and fair election within agreed feasible time frame. Right Honorable Speaker, Uganda is now a deeply divided country and citizens have hurt each other. There have been so many deaths whose explanation, the Balonyo, the Buchoro, the Atiak massacres, the Kasese massacres, the death of the Muslim clerics, high profile, the women and many other people. Communities and relatives of all these people have unanswered questions. Therefore, a truth-telling and reconciliation process would be an avenue for durable peace and unity. Uganda needs healing before meaningful unity. C, constitutional reforms. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the 1995 Ugandan Constitution has now remained a shell of all self, all that there was citizen. This has ranged from bribery of NRM-leaning MPs to remove 2-term limit and age limit on the presidency to ensure that leaders are accountable to them. Rebuilding institutions. Right Honorable Speaker, as we sit here, the SFC to beat up opposition members of parliament who were making it difficult from being institutions under a dictatorship. Our own institutions provide live examples. Free and dictatorship and rebuild, then it is possible that free and fair election can be held and the outcome respected and honored by all players. It is after this that we shall hold free and fair elections. The holding of free and fair elections would mark the end of the transition by the government of national unity. Intolerant, discriminatory, and unwilling to listen to advice and to listen to those who hold dissenting views from theirs. Right Honorable Speaker, for this to happen smoothly, it will take leadership to take it or ignore it. What a smooth transition. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I beg to submit. For those who are not in the 9th Parliament, go and ask Amama Mbabazi. Ignored us. That was Corridor's whisper. Where is he? Right Honorable Speaker, I now lay this report of the opposition on the table.
It's a response.
And I thank you very much.
It's a response. It's a response.
I mean, I lay the response to the state.
Thank you very much, the leader of opposition, for that response to the state of to His Excellency the President's State of the Nation address. Honorable members, our rules allow the leader of the opposition from Rule 25K to the active Rule 52 the matter. Under sub-rule 2, it allows a debate.
0.622435 million from the Corporate Internationalization Fund of Spain for the implementation of the project.
Statement to Parliament by the Ugandan delegation to the Pan-African Parliament against xenophobia.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I would like to make a statement to Parliament on behalf of the delegation of the Pan-African Parliament against the xenophobic violence in South Africa. Right Honorable Speaker, the Pan-African Parliament, that's the Ugandan delegation, has with utmost concern noted the ongoing xenophobia in South Africa, resulting in 2 killings, maiming of people, and destruction of their property. Xenophobia is a fear or hatred on the perceived or perceived to be foreign. South Africa, natives are attacking foreign African nationals, their businesses, and property, which is likely to reverse all gains and freedoms enjoyed by the South Africa, an equal appeal to the South African government and the African Union to find means where Africans can live together in peace. We were in Midrand, South Africa, where the Pan-African Parliament headquarters are. The meetings were held in August this year. We had a successful committee meetings and we left the country without any incident of violence against non-natives. We hope peace is restored for everyone ahead of the next PAP meetings scheduled for October. Right Honorable Speaker, our prayers through the Minister of Foreign Affairs who have lost their lives and property and assist them appropriately. The Minister of Foreign Affairs should forward the concerns of Parliament of Uganda and the people of Uganda to the government of South Africa to assure that Pan-Africanism is promoted as per our motto of the African Union, One Africa, One Voice. Right Honorable Speaker, below I would like to present the statement issued by the President of the Pan-African Parliament violence in South Africa. The Pan-African Parliament has learned with sadness.
Honorable, no, this one you are not going. Just lay it there.
I would like to lay the statement that was also read by the President of the Pan-African Parliament in regards to the violence in South Africa. And as a team, I believe this is regrettable. Right Honorable Speaker, move.
Thank you very much, Honorable member of the Pan-African Parliament, for this report. Honorable members, we have been handling this thing piecemeal, and we have been handling them in such a way that does not facilitate a debate. And I'm sure members would like to give some speeches on this issue, which is beginning to affect the unity of Africa as a continent. I am also informed, I didn't see it myself, that there are some activities that took place in Nigeria in relation to these things that are happening in South Africa that now shows that it could have far-reaching consequences if these matters are not arrested. So maybe, if it were possible, we could have a debate if the ministry, the next item. Next item.
Item 5.
Okupe Elijah raised a concern over increasing deaths of livestock per district, informing my Department of Wildlife through my Office of Erigon Conservation. We got some reinforcement also from UPDF and the communities that led us to a total search of wildlife into this area. On 12th of August, Uganda Wildlife Authority increased their numbers, and the local communities joined, and the others, and we put it out of action. The carcass of this male spotted hyena was shown to the communities and later taken to disposed in Angisa in Pia Wildlife Reserve. We would like to apologize for the delay, but of course, due to the vast land in Selele and also the thicket, we couldn't identify this animal as soon as possible. I commend the support and also the Member of Parliament, Honorable Okupe.
Honorable Minister.
Caused by use of agrochemicals and discharge of untreated municipal effluent into the river. Also, high siltation levels of River Ruizi and the tropical weather conditions are also believed to promote multiplication of the water hyphae easily. Right Honorable Speaker, currently my ministry is doing the following. We are working with stakeholders and the leadership of the district through which River Ruizi flows, and these Ambarara Bushenyi, Shema Ntungamo, and Insinjiro. And we have taken both preventive and management measures to address the problem as follows. The riverbanks of River Ruizi are being demarcated and restored so that they filter the water and reduce the nutrient flow into the river. About 8 wetlands have been restored to improve storage of water of the River Ruizi catchment and to perform treatment of the wastewater. Technical support and guidance has been provided to industries, abattoir town, to enable them reduce the amount of wastewater they generate and also improve the quality of wastewater before it is discharged into the river. A serious matter, because this is the main source of water to Mbara town, which is now becoming a city. I beg to submit. County raised concern over the rampant tree cutting for charcoal business that has destroyed roads, Vudugade, Zimba, Kalo, Kaswera, Sembula, and Wabiraga. All these reserves have been heavily encroached. Right Honorable Speaker, Goma District also has 11 central forest reserves, those which are managed by the National Forest Authority. And 2 of these, that include Kalombe and Ansowe, are grass bushland forests. Co-production has also encroached on parts of the Ansowe Central Forest Reserve, but this has been stopped. Right Honorable Speaker, Gomba District heavily depends on revenue from charcoal and livestock trade. Over 300 bags of charcoal are transported every day from farms that are being cleared for cultivation. Transportation is a key revenue source for the district. Unfortunately, the principles of sustainable production is not put into consideration because the production is tendered out of the highest bidder who are to recover their money. They must ensure charcoal is produced and transported. To address the deforestation in the Central Forest Reserve, National Forest Authority has engaged the encroachers to start planting trees under collaborative management. Demarcation of plots is also ongoing. Production and transportation as a mechanism and as a means, and we will have addressed.
Right Honourable Speaker, I am 25% satisfied with the answer. Yes, because I think it is, yes, just listen to me. I think it is dangerous. But for me to sit there as an MP and keep quiet because the district wants to make easy revenue would mean that I'm not a rightful leader. The district had better think of other alternatives apart from charcoal. Because cattle can provide that, and let them think out of the box. How dare they even talk about revenue from charcoal? Can you imagine how narrow-minded? I'm sorry to use that, but they can think outside the box and get revenue elsewhere. That's an easy source for now, but it's going to cause, it is already causing problems with rainfall. We have a bad vegetation there. So we already have these people coming back to us and asking for boreholes. They try and dig boreholes and they find no water at the base. So we have to have valley dams constructed.
Do you have a supplementary question?
I was wondering whether we cannot ally, say, with UNEP so that we get an alternative source of something for easy cooking. Yeah, and then for the district local government and the population there to be sensitized by the ministry, specifically if you could do a program for Gomba, because it's a bigger problem than you'd think. You need to come down and see what's happening. Thank you.
Honourable Minister.
Right Honourable Speaker, I will first begin by thanking the colleague for actually taking concern. And Honourable Speaker, what I also have, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item.
Item 5.4, the Uganda to establish cottage industries. Raise 6, motion for reconsideration of the Sugar Bill 2019 as returned by His Excellency the President in accordance with Article 91(3)(b) of the Constitution.
As far as the motion for reconsideration of the Sugar Bill 2019 as returned by the President in accordance with Article 9 Constitution is concerned, consultations are still underway. Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to be given more time so that we can exhaust the consultations and submit a more comprehensive. Yeah.
Honourable Minister, on the 30th of April, this matter came up, and the government chief whip assured this House that in 4 weeks they'll be able to come back and deal with this matter. And I made some communication how we need to go back and look at this thing again and find a better to it than had come out. That is 30th of April. Today is, I don't know what date now, 10th of September. And I think you need to put this thing together.
The exercise proved.
Next item.
Item 7, Bill second reading.
Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, it is true the bill was read the first time and referred to a committee. We held a number of workshops, and the more we discussed, the more we discovered that we need to harmonize even more. I interacted with the chairperson of the committee, the Honorable Oboth, and we both agreed that we seek the indulgence to give us some more time to tie the knots that are yet to be tied. Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry the Honorable Both is not here. He has lost a relative for the funeral, but I'm authorized to present this statement to you and to quote him on our agreement. So I pray that we'll be given another time, maybe 30 days, within which to harmonize everything.
Oh, please, thank you. Please, clerk, extract those minutes and forward them to the ministers concerned.
The order paper, Bill second reading, the Law Revision Bill 2019.
Samia Bugwe, seconded by Kinkizi East.
And to empower the Attorney General to come, but without a specific law to authorize it to do so and provide for the modality of doing so. So we identified some deficits in the existing law, and those are the deficits the bill intends to address. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you very much, honorable members. The question that I propose for your debate is that the bill entitled the Law Revision Bill 2019 be read for the second time. And that is the motion for your debate. And to kick off our debate, we normally take the report of the committee to advise us what their findings are on the principles of the bill and possible areas they think improvements should be made. But chair, or is there a committee member or vice chair who's ready to proceed with this? A member of the Committee on Legal? Honorable, given that yes, are you prepared to give a report?
Right, Honorable Speaker, I have no instructions to proceed.
No, you don't need instructions. You have my instruction. You have my authority to put the chair of the committee to report to the House, which report will guide the debate on this motion for second reading of this bill. Thank you very much. Next item.
Item 9, Bill second reading, the Fiscal Planning Amendment Bill 29.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. I beg to move that the bill entitled the Fiscal Planning Amendment Bill 2018 be read the second time.
Is the motion seconded? Seconded by Samia Bugwe Igara. To speak to your motion?
With the lower level physical planning committees. And therefore, you find in our local government, this bill is to strengthen the National Physical Planning Board and also give it a full-time secretariat for it to have effective functioning as we handle physical planning. So therefore, we are strengthening this board, creating a secretariat, and also further empowering the lower level physical planning committees for them to be effective. You know, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, Uganda has one of the highest rates, and we would want this urbanization to be planned and organized. We wouldn't want to see the growth of slums and informal settlements in our towns and the rural areas. And therefore, the function of physical planning is important. We want to strengthen the law so that all the settlements and developments occurring in the country, especially in urban areas, are organized, are planned, and are directed by physical planning institutions, especially the board and the committee.
Right Honorable Speaker, I stand to communicate that the committee is not yet ready with the report, and we request that we present our committee report on Thursday.
Thursday,
We
this
are
week?
signed tomorrow. Thursday, we shall be ready with the report.
Okay, Thursday.
National Bill second reading. The National Graduate Scheme Bill 2018.
Honorable Majegere. Bills. But this is a unique case where the delay is being occasioned by. So, but we will leave it at that, and then, but it will stay on the order paper. We'll find out from the chair, and we'll deal with it tomorrow. But if the member is now reluctant to pursue.
Order paper. Motion for resolution of Parliament urging government to devise long-term means of stopping the rampant murders of robberies suffered by border riders.
Honorable members, this matter was only waiting a response from the minister responsible for internal affairs and other security-related ministries, which I am informed I agreed that only the Minister of Internal Affairs would report on this matter and will be able to take a final decision on this. I see the mover there.
Public service providers in an expedient, efficient, and transparent manner, unlike many other public service providers. Aware that Face Technology software is supported by third-party agreements and government of Uganda as to acquire the proprietary software rights at the end. Further noting that at the expiry of the current contract between Government of Uganda and Face Technologies Limited, the training of Ugandans aspects as per operate transfer would not have been concluded. Concerned that the current Ugandan staff have only been on the first and second level of system maintenance procedures, further concerned that Face Technologies Limited established a data center for all parts of Uganda and the software system as interfaces with the express penalty system ticket used by Uganda Police Force, noting that Ministry of Works and Transport and Face Technology have decided that the facility be moved from the currently rented facility at Chambogo to government land at Uganda Railway main station building. Further noting that the construction and transfer of a state-of-the-art facility to the government-owned land, Wale, Arua, Gulu, Port Portal, and Mbarara for issuance of driving permits. Further aware that there is need to establish a proper mechanism and arrangement for government to take up the facilities like staff recruitment structure as approved by this Parliament. Now, therefore, be it resolved by this Parliament as follows. 1. Parliament urges government through Ministry of Works to, at the expiration of the existing contract, to open more branches in at least the traditional 14 regions of Uganda during the transitional period. 4. That the Minister of Works and Transport reports to Parliament on the progress of the implementation.
Seconded by Aru County, by Noya County, by Kasese District, by Oture, Busia. Would you, I think there's enough, would you like to speak to your motion? I see workers, I see UPDF. Okay.
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, this motion draws its legitimacy from the fact that under the Traffic and Road Safety Act of 1998 as amended, the Ministry of Works and Transport is mandated to regulate the function of issuance of driving for public in Uganda. And in fulfillment of the above statutory mandate, government represented by the Ministry of Works entered by 2016, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19. This company collected non-tax revenue for government of Uganda to a tune of 110. They are currently employing over 130 and 3,000 Ugandans directly and indirectly respectively. They have issued over 900,000. Most of them have landed in bad hands. For those who still have them, they have not yet gotten into the hands of the law enforcement. And in get a driving license in Republic and operationalize 7 regional offices as stated, they have implemented successfully the self-financing bill, operate and transfer contract delivery mechanism. Right, Honorable Speaker. Not only that, the software system they are currently using supports the express penalty scheme used by Uganda Police Force. It further supports the automated licensing system. It also supports the public service drivers budget for all drivers under the public service. Just like where there is the hands of Jesus, Satan hoovers. Where there is heaven, there is hell. Where there are achievements, there are challenges. Let me state two for the record of Parliament. Challenge number 1, Right Honorable Speaker, is the issue of, as opposed to the demand for the services. So many sub-regions are calling for opening of more branches. A case in point, Lango sub-region. With now 9 districts, we move to either Gulu or Mbale. We are also saying we are also people. If that
would be a very new definition of regional.
Exactly. To mention but a few. The other challenge, right, for Ugandans to afford it. Right, Honorable Speaker, under the notion of self-financing bill operation investment already put in place by this particular company. The issue of company saying is that they have accepted to hand over to government of Uganda to own it. But the management of the transitional period is what they're saying. We have delivered. You gave us, we financed it, we built, we operated, and we are willing and ready to transfer to you at the end of our contractual obligation. Then why would you give the opportunity of managing that little transitional period to another company? And yet we are here. Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to end up here and say, as government, I also want to make up a wake-up call. The child they have nurtured, the child they have groomed and mentored, we fly even higher and higher. Right, Honorable Speaker and members, I beg to submit.
It's because we have had scandals. I was among the MPs that went to Karamoja to see the Valley Dam. When we arrived there, we found a hill. There was even nothing like a dam. We were on top of the hill. And yet millions of dollars meant for reconstruction of northern Uganda under PRDP ended up in scandals. The LC1 bicycles, where the president gave a directive that they should buy bicycles for LC1, to be the seconder of the motion, that under a model of build, operate, and transfer, finally, Uganda government and Uganda police will own the system of permit production. But in this particular case, when the year is 2020, where first technology is finally handing over, if this motion had said they needed an extension of 10 more years, it would be so that at the end of the day, if you have fixed permit in place, you blame Uganda government is the reason why I stand to support this motion. Mr. Speaker, I want to raise some two legal issues because I was privy to read through the document as opposed to the submission of my good friend, Honorable Mawanda. One, there is a running contract. The running contract, Mr. Speaker, is so engaging that First Technology cannot give more time again to start training Uganda government. They have obligations. If your contract ends, what alternatives does government of Uganda have? Okay? There are three alternatives. One can be very reckless, which is to say, give the facilities to government of Uganda in 2020 and we start producing funding. But that presupposes there has to be training. The other alternative would be for fresh bidding, to go to the whole world that this contract has ended, we need new companies to come. Technology, Mr. Speaker, has the data. First Technology, Mr. Speaker, has the, hold on, I'm seconded, you have your time. First Technology has the national database, which should have been owned by NIRA and Uganda Poly may have to expire if those software rights, Uganda First Technology has with their proprietors are not handled kosher. So this is a very serious legacy, very near for many MPs. Uganda Railways is where the one-stop center for processing driving permits will now be. A facility here at Railways, Mr. Speaker, sir, I think it would be very nice for this country to own a center of its own, not in a rented property that government of Uganda would operate on. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, as a committee, we were concerned, Mr. Speaker, how such amounts of money could be generated. Mr. Speaker, I write Alan. That is giving the authority of Alan to vary the terms of the contract when there is an existing contract. Therefore, I want to ask whether we are proceeding right when there is already a running contract with the terms and conditions thereto, and now Parliament is moving on a motion that is to vary the terms of the contract when the contract is still running. Are we moving right?
Honorable members, I must confess I do not have quite the question in action, but I heard. And the London Committee was just but you see, what it is saying is, at the expiration of the transitional management when there's a transition of management, what I'm saying is to manage the transition, but they hand over the facility to government at the end of the contract. But there is a transition arrangement that they are proposing that government should consider so that they can what? They continue to manage contract. They will not be proposing it because they're saying at the end of the contract, First Technology will be handing over the facility to the government of Uganda. Yes, President?
Further procedure? There is a running contract. We are not privy to that contract. We don't know what the contract is talking about. This is, they have brought a motion, they like us to discuss. We don't know what is in the contract. The contract has those terms which we don't know. They are bringing a plain motion, hoodwink Parliament and the government and discuss and then take a decision. I have heard, I am not even privy to the agreement that was signed. And again, these people are supposed to have handed over 5 years ago.
I believe our colleagues are moving in they are moving with a very good heart, in good faith, than we have after the expire of the contract. And then if we find the gap, like for example, they have not started the transition, they have not done anything, we will say First Technologies has done a good job, why don't you extend their contract? That's what I would think, other than now,
What if in the contract there are plans of transition already? What if they are there? So I just wanted your guidance.
Thank you. No. I think that's enough.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I just want to add to what my colleague has said. Because the motion is counteracting what the minister is doing. Wouldn't it be procedure right that we send this to the Committee of Physical Infrastructure to interact with the ministry and then know what is in the contract? Because we can't ask, because the minister, according to the motion, is the one who is trying to deny structural terms and come back and report here. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members, I don't think any of those things are procedural matters. There are issues I'll ask the member who was holding the floor to deal with these issues that members can understand when we hear. Because it's not a technical, a procedural matter. Yes.
What members need to know, the contract of Space Technology was first signed in 2003. After it expired, it has been renewed by Minister of Work for various reasons. Mr. Speaker, is that if we wait up to 2020, when Honorable Okwatogong knows expired, it has not been renewed, and we may start going through fresh bidding process. Mr. Speaker, if I may explain further. Mr. Speaker, if I may explain further. So what this motion is saying is that how are you going to manage the transition period? Of course, I know there are so many international companies that are already lobbying strong for Space Technology to be kicked out, and they come in. One of them is called Veritas. Yes, I know there are very many companies. So, Mr. Speaker, we would warn ourselves. But the point we are saying, which I would challenge any member to give me information other than the minister. One, what are you going to do with this database that the private company has collected? What are you going to do with the database? It's not property of Uganda government rights. According to the agreement, according to the contract I have seen for myself. So, Mr. Speaker, I was still saying before points of procedures interjected. Today I was in the Committee of Park and the police appeared. I saw a very interesting figure of non-tax revenue, where Uganda police is generating over 300 billion shillings in express penalties. Now, when you look through this contract, Mr. Speaker, that I would request the minister to lay for the benefit of the members, is that if this database, because if you commit an offense, the police counts your permit and the system is tracked and the government can get you no matter how long if you don't pay. Now, if this database is being held by a private company, Mr. Speaker, and a proper transition is not managed by, it would be a total disaster. One, all our permits will be invalidated. Two, copyright issues will emerge. Three, this money Uganda police is bragging for today will disappear in thin air. So lastly, Mr. Speaker, as I second the motion, this motion is definitely, it would have been so wild if we say 10 years extension for the same company. I personally want to see my government issuing permits to me, not a private company. However, the question would remain, what levels of training would we prepare fresh? And thirdly, as we are moving to our private premises, as the motion has stated, Mr. Speaker, it's a little too much for Ugandans to get permits at 500,000 shillings. So now that the facility would be moving to government premises, we hope the cost of permits would reduce, and we hope more permit centers would be opened all around the country and run by government of Uganda. I beg to second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Honorable members, in the public gallery this afternoon, we have pupils and staff from Pandwong Primary School from Kitgum District, represented by Honorable Margaret and Honorable Beatrice Anywa. They are here to observe the proceedings. Please join me in welcoming them. You are very welcome. Where are they? Honorable members, the motion that I propose for your debate is that Parliament, by resolution, appreciates the planned handover by First Technologies Limited.
For Speaker, and allow me to thank the mover of the motion and the seconders. Right Honorable Speaker, what I want to know, first of all, from the Minister of Works, Transport and Communication is what is included in the memorandum of understanding or the contract transition period. Because first of all, the contract of First Technology has been extended. Now would we going into second extension? May we know what is included there? Because, Right Honorable Speaker, what I would want to know is whether we are prepared to take over from First Technology. Because currently issuing of looking for the preparedness of government to take over from First Technology. And if we are not, I would then think as Parliament would be good for us to have a smooth transition where, but I'm looking at a period of 3 years as being, 5 years to know that if we don't take interest in this, then you will be surprised over time to find that there are people, the so-called mafias, would also come in to kick out First Technology and bring in other people to start taking over. And then this would set us in a situation of confusion. So to say Parliament should not have a say of a contract which is ending in about 7 or 8 months' time, I think we would be deceiving ourselves, Right Honorable Speaker. So I would want the Minister to respond to that. And then we think, Parliament, this is not something which is very difficult for us to deal with as the contract is ending. And we have good issuance of driving permits and collection of revenue. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Kalungu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, there are things I'm appreciating from First Technology. I at least have renewed my permit. I went there, paid, and got the permit that very day. That was appreciation. Now, Honorable Speaker, with the extension, the Attorney General must come at play because this involves legal matters. I have no problem with the extension, and I also have fear of people might take up, and they have mafias. But the Attorney General and the Minister come in to show us the legal implications. But otherwise, we are supporting it. There's no problem. Me, I'm happy with the First Technology, but I was annoyed with one thing. I don't know how they buy, but is a senior municipality town. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, I would pray the Attorney General, and I've been facing him. This is your area now. This is your area, because they are looking for extension and smooth handover to see this airline starts moving well, but we need to get some guidance. And then we support, because definitely we need that transfer. I pray. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. But I support the motion.
Attorney General, you are.
But having listened to the motion, what the motion is seeking to do is not to extend the contract. The motion is saying, when the contract expires, give these people a management agreement to manage. And it is not uncommon in contracts of this nature, because we need a good transition. As the movers say, we need these people to train our citizens. We need a smooth continuity. That is what I get from the contract. But what they are trying to do is to put in place a smooth transition. Secondly, they are not saying that we do it now. The motion is clear. It's up to the ministry to decide on how they want to treat the transition.
Bunyoli.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker and honourable members. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the movers of this motion and second positively. Honourable Speaker, 2020 in May, as they are saying, some of us NRM cadres, we shall be busy in our primaries. And when we handle the issue of public health and classification, I'm informed.
I think let's debate.
Honourable Speaker, for me, since they are just transferring and training, the NRM is 75% of the national elections. So this motion I want to support. I want to thank you.
They're here to observe the proceedings. Please join me in welcoming them. You are very, very welcome. Can I have...
Right Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the motion as moved by Honorable Bua. Mr. Speaker, there is no one seen. Right Honorable Speaker, the company we are talking about, as already mentioned, has registered overwhelming success. Today as we talk, Mr. Speaker, we are having our police advancing in terms of technology each and every day. We are now using is compatible and usable by the Uganda Police Force, which is actually the main beneficiary and user of our permits, because First Technology entered a contract with them as government. And like the Attorney General said, this motion is entirely coming in good faith, Mr. Speaker. The only question here is, how prepared is government in taking over? And if government has got a plan for the takeover, then I think we are moving in the right direction. And this motion is actually coming process in a period that is well defined and well agreed upon by both parties. And it is upon this background that the motion is before us as a house to give it 2020 and find ourselves in confusion, find ourselves so far. Today you can easily walk to Chambogo, walk to Mbale, walk to Mbarara, and get a permit in a day. Computerized permit that is well defined. Right now we are having a software and application. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have Jinja Municipality? East.
I will only restrict myself, Right Honorable Speaker, as to whether we are doing the right thing first as Parliament. The motion seeks to speak to the transition period. But the BOT in its very nature, as it sounds, is build, operate, and transfer. Meaning that the build and operate transfer agreement must have envisaged the situation that at the expiry of the contractual period, there will be transfer of the same. Right Honorable Speaker, we are not dealing with something new. Government of Uganda has lost colossal sums of money on Agreco, on the transformers in Namang. We signed a BOT at the expiry. Of course, the technical people within government, I say later, from the ministry, and I raised it on floor in this house. And they kept on being these games. But I want to underscore one thing, Right Honorable Speaker, that in an agreement of that nature, the terms are very different. Because the person doing the build, operate, and transfer gets a higher percentage because this contract was financing itself. Arising out the management during the the transfer, it means that the contractor is going to maintain the same cost of processing a permit. Yet it was assumed that at the expiry, Uganda would own these processes and even the prices would go down. Having said that, Right Honorable Speaker, there's no doubt that actually First Technology has improved the service. That's not an issue. What we are debating as to whether Parliament, we are closed with authority to do what we are about to do in the manner being brought in the motion. I would propose the BOT contracts. So that we look at the terms and what did the contract say about these BOT terms. And if what we are doing is in the interest of the country, then, Right Honorable Speaker, I would be inclined to support the motion. But in the current form, really, I want to withhold my support.
At hand is a transitional plan. When the contract of First Technology was renewed last time, Ministry of First Technology still has more 50 years to operate in Uganda. They knew very well that after 5 years, the contract will come to an end, but they never prepared to take over. Now, the question is, why, assuming now we don't support this motion, the term comes to an end, the contract comes to an end, fixed technology transitional period. There must be something sinister going on in that ministry. So right now, Mr. Speaker, for me, I unreservedly support this motion for the simple reason we need to handle this as a transitional window. Time to prepare the government of Uganda to take over. I don't want a situation whereby the minister comes back to parliament here, requests that because we are not prepared, we allow another company to take over in the transitional phase. That's one thing me, right now, Speaker, I am very fearful about. And it's for the same reason I support this motion. So that we give this fact to the days of delays and so on. So right now, Speaker, I have a belief that this motion is in good faith. I don't have any conflict of interest whatsoever. My fear is to move away from First Technology to another company. We've already had this name Veridos coming up every other time. Even the committee, I'm sure, has been interrogating this thing of Veridos. Why is it that there's a company called Veridos on the corridors? This is what we are fearing. Right now, Speaker. Thank you.
Igara. Procedure.
Thank you very much. Right, Honorable Speaker. I am constrained to debate on this motion because the movers seem not to have information from the responsible ministry. Since the minister who is in charge of this area is within the house, would it be...
Which order? Which order?
Right, Honorable Speaker. I'm raising on a point of order. Throughout this debate, I have seen the demeanor of the Honorable Mawanda Michael from Igara East. He's swearing, he's cursing, he's recording people.
Oh.
Is it in order for the honorable member to go on behaving like that when we are engaged in a sober and important debate?
I think the Honorable Mawanda is just eager to speak.
Yes.
And I'm going to give him an opportunity.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I was on the point of procedure, and I was saying that the movers of the motion, I think are moving in a good faith house. Wouldn't it be procedurally correct that he tells us, because many questions are pointing to the minister, what the minister is doing? Would it be proper that we ask him to give us a statement now or...
But you see, usually in the course of debate, because usually ministers responsible for sectors have a right of response at the end. But in the course of the debate, if a member does not rise to make it... But so, Honorable Minister, do you want to speak now?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable colleagues. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues for this country. The contract is supposed to come to an end at around the 20th May next year. This contract was extended previously because the operator had not recouped their resources. And gives information how many driving permits have been issued, the money that goes to the operator at the facility, because this is the process of getting the facility out of a private facility that is in Chambogo to a government facility. Also, we engage
the service provider on the modalities of acquiring. When the modalities of who negotiated, so we directed our technical people to start on the process of seeing how we can get the software. 3, Right Honorable Speaker, the service provider, for a period sufficient for them to recoup the cost of the software rights. And other transition modalities, but details of the contract are yet to be ironed out. What has been accomplished? The building owner, the facilitator should move to the government premises by end of January. 2, the minister has acquired URC premises, but these should be undertaken soon. The other one is discussion regarding the software and operational costs that are yet transitional modalities. Thank you.
Clarification.
Honorable members, before let's 2020. 2, the software rights remains with First Technologies. 3, they would like to give another contract to First Technologies for it to be able to recoup money. They cannot renew the contract. Yes, they cannot renew this contract. What they can do, they are going to do a new contract with the current suggest government should consider giving it to First Technologies. Now the minister is saying they are going to give it to First Technology because they have not recouped all their money. Okay? So is there a contradiction? Is there a contradiction? No. Well, because they... Yes. Amendment.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the facts are now clear, except for one point that the ministry is not ready to receive at the end of the management contract, and we find ourselves in the same situation. So in the motion, we should have a provision that the Ministry of Works and Transport should receive the contract and operate at that end. I just wanted to add that.
Is that okay, honorable members? Is that okay? Okay. Can we take a decision on the matter? Appreciate the planned handover by First Technologies Limited to Government of Uganda be adopted. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Thank you. Next item. Honorable members, in the strangers gallery this afternoon, we have representatives of petitioners from Kabulo Nachifuma constituency, Order Robert Kafero, Sectoleko, and Honorable Peace Kusasira Mubiru. They are here to observe the proceedings. Particularly, there is a petition that is coming. You are very, very welcome. Thank you. Next item.
Mpulangire and Makukuba villages in Mukono district.
Honorable Member.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues. This is a petition under Rule 30 of the Rules of Procedure. The humble petition of the residents of Kabulo, Kabawala, Nkuragirire, Eko, MP Nachifuma Kaonde. Right Honorable Speaker, your humble petitioners are residents of Kabulo, Kabawala, Nkuragirire, and the Makukuba villages in Mukono district who are expressing their grievances against land grabbing and imminent eviction from Block 40 Plot 58, Nachifu Machagwe in Mukono district. Your petitioners avert that the eminent land grabbing and the eviction scheme is being spearheaded by one Mr. Kabagambe Nicholas, a grandson of late Guludene Andrew, and that is the original Chivanja owner. Right Honorable Speaker, they have so many issues as enlisted from 1 up to 16. In the interest of time, I will not go through one by one. But Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, here are the prayers. The petitioners therefore humbly pray that, number one, Parliament carries out an investigation into the registration of the land title of the land into the different land titles, especially the freehold title of 2018, given that it's Kabaka's land, and take appropriate action. Right Honorable Speaker, the petitioners pray that Parliament allows the relevant committee to visit the disputed land to establish facts about it. And number three, that Parliament orders the RDC Mukono and the Nagalama Police to hold any pending eviction on this land until investigation into the matter are finalized. Your petitioners, Right Honorable Speaker, have signed, have appended their signatures on the petition, which I would like to lay on table. Also attached on the petition is evidence of their fulfillment of payment of Busulu as required by the law. We have also attached the said freehold register, the certificate of title for that freehold register, dated 13th December of 2018. Right Honorable Speaker, also attached is the leasehold, the certificate of title of the leasehold. That is of 1990, 1st August. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay.
Let the records capture the petition and attach documents.
Right Honorable Speaker, as I wind up, no Ugandan, whether from Nachifuma or elsewhere,
Honorable,
should be unlawfully evicted.
You are supposed to present the petition, which you have done
Most
very
obliged,
well.
Most obliged, Right Honorable Speaker.
You will speak properly when the committee reports on this matter. Honorable members, on prayer number 3, I think I have a little challenge with the wording. Can Parliament order an RDC? Can Parliament order the police? Might have to find a way of rephrasing it. You can say again that the process should be halted, process of any pending eviction should be halted without giving any specific orders to anybody. Maybe you want to look at it again, because you're saying Parliament orders the RDC, Mukono, and Nagalama Police to halt any pending eviction. I would rather you say all pending evictions, to facilitate this investigation, all pending evictions should be halted to allow Parliament do its work. Maybe it would be better, I don't know. Would that be better? Yes. You want to do it properly?
Right Honorable Speaker, most obliged. We can adjust to remove the issues of orders, and we pray that all pending evictions should be put on hold until Parliament finalizes the investigation on this matter.
Thank you. I think that captures the spirit of what you want to achieve. Honorable members, that is the petition
presented by a member for Nachifuma, and the concerned people are in the house. We have just recognized them. I refer this particular petition to the committee, our committee of physical infrastructure, to handle within. But now you are the petitioner and you are also the chairperson.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I have a vice.
Okay.
Yes.
This matter is referred to the Committee on Physical Infrastructure to handle expeditiously, because with the delays, things can go wrong. So handle it expeditiously and come and advise the House what decision we should take to help these people who are affected by this pending eviction and other activities. It's so referred. Thank you. Next.
Item 13, motion for resolution of Parliament urging government to extend the district quota policy for award of the government scholarships to other lower institutions of learning.
Are the honorable members here? I see the honorable member for Koboko District, seconder of the motion. Is she ready to present the motion? You cannot present the motion. The honorable member for Bunyoli East, can you present the motion? Okay, looks like there is no presenter of this motion. Honorable members will defer until the honorable member for Lamoa District comes to the House to present this motion. There being no other business, we might have to pause here. But honorable members, tomorrow we have to finalize with the supplementary appropriation bill, as I had guided, so that we can close that chapter. I'd asked the committee to go back and harmonize the figures, how they fit in the bill, and how they fit with what Parliament previously approved through the supplementary schedules that were presented before Parliament. If there are variations, we go with what we approved, and we don't take anything else, because we would not have approved it. What we are doing, we are now just supplying what we initially approved through the supplementary schedules that we already took decisions on. Honorable members, this House now stands adjourned to tomorrow, 2 o'clock.
The region of northern Uganda, which in the past lagged behind due to post-war conflict, is now